Well, bowel cancer is Australia's second biggest killer of cancer, claiming the lives of 103 Australians every week. But it's also one of the most treatable types of cancer if found early. June is Bowel Cancer Awareness Month, and here to give us some more valuable information is Todd Harper, Cancer Council Victoria's Chief Executive Officer. Great to have you on board this morning, Todd. Now, is it the second biggest cancer killer, and how aware do you think people are of this statistic?
It is Australia's second biggest cancer killers, and that's quite daunting when we consider that bowel cancer probably doesn't have the same profile as some other cancers. But the good news is that there are things that we can do to both prevent bowel cancer and detect it earlier. So one of the most important things that people can do is participate in Australia's National Bowel Cancer Screening Program, which is a free at-home test that people can do between the ages of 50 and 74, and this can help detect bowel cancer at its earlier stages. But currently only about 40% of Australians are completing the test, so it's why the Cancer Council has been very active in trying to encourage people to do this test. It's simple, it's free, you can do it at home, and it literally does save lives.
It's not the most sexy topic, but it is a very important one, Todd. Can you talk us through what this test is all about? Because a lot of tests are very invasive and perhaps they're painful if you have to have needles and so forth. But talk us through, it is breakfast TV time, but talk us through what you actually have to do.
So it's a test that can be done at home in the smallest room of the house. It's hygienic, it's free, and it's done every 2 years, and people aged between 50 and 74 will be sent this test at home. As you said, it's not painful, it's not invasive, yet this test can be very effective in treating bowel cancer or detecting bowel cancer very early. And what we've seen as a result of campaigns that have been run by the Cancer Council before is that we have seen screening rates. When those campaigns are on, they lift from about 40% to 50, even 55%. And that is leading to the early detection of bowel cancer. The first campaign like this that we ran in Victoria, for example, about 2 years ago, detected cancers at an early stage or before that even developed of about 200 or so. So this is really valuable information. We want to get more people to do the test at home, and it involves collecting a sample after you've been to the toilet and sending that back for analysis.
Well, it sounds pretty easy. You mentioned 50 to 74-year-olds. Perhaps if there's a history in the family and people want to do a test earlier, how do you go about obtaining one of those kits? Where do we find them?
So they're sent to all Australians 50 to 74 every 2 years. You can also call the National Bowel Cancer Screening Information Line for information on when your next test is due, and they'll be able to provide you with this information. And in the meantime, there are some really sensible things that people can do to reduce their risk of bowel cancer. Be physically active, maintain a healthy body weight, lots of fresh fruit and vegetables, dietary fibres. All of these things can help prevent bowel cancer as well.
And Todd, talk us through the survival rates if found early.
This is one of our most preventable and detectable bowel cancers, as you've mentioned, Janie. So we know that, for example, if bowel cancer is detected early, it can be successfully treated in more than 90% of cases. So prevention and early detection are absolutely critical. The National Bowel Cancer Screening Test is free. You can do it at home. It's not invasive and not painful. So that's one of the most important things that we can do to make sure that we can minimise the threats posed by bowel cancer.
And who is most at risk, and perhaps what are some of the symptoms that we need to look out for?
Yes, so people aged 50 to 74 are where we see the greatest number of bowel cancer cases occurring. So symptoms that people can look out for are changes in bowel motions, tiredness, lethargy, etc. And a lot of the times, of course, these are symptoms that may be completely unrelated to bowel cancer, but it's a good idea to keep an eye out for these things. If you are worried, of course, see your family doctor and make sure you do the free at-home test kit when it's sent to you in the mail.
All right, so yes, some very sound advice there. Prevention, of course, as you mentioned, a free kit, it's not invasive at all. to keep up the exercise and to eat healthy. It all sounds easy in theory, but why are we seeing so many cases still?
I think there's a few things that are happening here. Firstly, the test program is fairly new in Australia. It's only been fully rolled out this year. I think there are also some misperceptions that it's somehow unhygienic, that the test is difficult to do. But in fact, most people who do the test recognise that it's actually very easy to do. So while only 40% of people will do the test when it's first sent to them, more than 70% of people will do the test when it's sent to them again in 2 years' time. So I think people recognise that it's actually easy, it's quite clean, hygienic, simple to do. So I think we need to get over some of those misperceptions that some people have that the test is difficult, invasive, painful, those types of things, because it's certainly not.